Hey, everybody, hope you are doing well. We've got our open forum show. We've got the Kings and the Knicks, but of course, today is a big day. NFL free agency officially began, and there have been a lot of moves and very interesting moves in the National Football League. Sam Darnold, who had such a phenomenal year with the Vikings, but did not play well towards the end of the season and the playoffs, goes from the Vikings to Seattle. Justin Fields leaves the Steelers and goes to the Jets. Those are some of the headliners. Zach Wilson, quarterback, former high pick of the Jets, goes to the Dolphins, and lots of other. Let me make sure my mic is on here. Give me a second. Garrett Cole, Tommy John surgery. How about that? Every year, the Yankees coming out of spring training have half the team hurt. I don't understand it. But we've got, again, NFL really is taking center stage today. My thoughts on the Seahawks moves from Cody. I don't think the Seahawks got better. I don't see how you can lose a quarterback that had been playing so well in Geno Smith and lose DK Metcalf and add Sam Darnold and think you're better. I don't. How's that happen? How does that happen? I don't get that. So if you're asking me, did Seattle get better? No, they didn't get better. My opinion. All right, the NBA last 2-minute report and overtime, the officials made all correct calls according to the NBA. They made correct calls and correct non-calls. So we can put that to bed right now, all right? And the league has no problem admitting when their officials are wrong with the last 2-minute report. The Kings lost the game. It was a really tough loss. I think it is the toughest loss of the year. Not worst loss of the year, toughest loss of the year. And now they come home and take on a Knicks team that's well-rested, who's lost both games to the Lakers and the Clippers. They lost to the Lakers in overtime. Of course, Brunson got hurt in overtime of that game. Malik Monk is not on the injury report, so that is good news. Rhino's going to have the pregame show coming up in a little bit. And then, of course, Jerry Reynolds joins us here at halftime. And then we take your phone calls on the postgame show. But the Kings need Malik Monk. The question is, how will that affect Doug Christie's rotation? And what will that do to the defense? Because you can't play everybody. All right. So if you start Monk and Levine, you got Keon Ellis coming off the bench. Devin Carter's been playing more. I mean, you can't play everyone. So if you lose this game, and I think this is going to be a very hard game to win. I'm just telling you. I just think it's going to be a very hard game. I don't like the matchups. And the Knicks have had a couple days off, and they have to win a game here. They're pointing at this game. I don't feel good about the game tonight. 3 games in 4 nights. Doug has played his players a lot of minutes. I don't think they got a lot of energy left in the tank, especially after last night's game. So I think it's going to be very challenging. And then you go on and play the Warriors, and then the very next night you're in Phoenix. So this is a very critical stretch for Sacramento, a very critical stretch. And I also think that you need to be careful about Valanciunas getting into foul trouble, all right? Because the Knicks are a physical team. Cody says Laramie Tunsil headed to the Commanders. That is a big-time move to pick him up. Big-time move. Big-time move. There's, I think the Commanders, boy, what they've already done in this offseason, you add Deebo Samuel, now you get a stud tackle. Man. Yeah, I think they're looking really good. I think they're really good. All right, if you want to call the show, it's easy to do. All right, here's your open forum link. You give me a call, I'll put you right on. Or you can just go to the chat line and we can communicate that way. Not going to go that long today. Rhino's got a show coming up in a little bit. with the pregame show. I wanted to talk a little bit about NFL free agency, and I wanted to talk about the game last night. I expect the Kings to fight like hell tonight. Well, you better expect that because they're in a playoff race and they're fighting for their lives. So you better expect that. If not, you ought to boo them off the floor. But I'm just telling you, this is going to be a very, very difficult game. It's not going to be easy. This is going to be a very big challenge against the Knicks team that desperately needs a win and is well rested. Well rested. You know, when you look at the standings right now, we talk a lot about what's going on in the West, but the Knicks are third, and they're in a good situation in this sense. They're 5 back in a loss column of second place Boston, but they're 4 up on fourth place Milwaukee. But here's the problem with the Knicks. They are not playing well. They've lost 3 in a row. They are good on the road at 19-12, but they don't have their all-star point guard in Brunson, but they're going to try to mug you to death. So we're going to see how the officials call this game tonight. Cody, Mr. NFL man, Darius Slayton re-signing with the Giants. Yes, he is. I don't know who's on the ball, but he is re-signing with the Giants. I love Darius Slayton. I think he's one of the most underrated receivers in football. We'll definitely know who the Kings are tonight. No, you won't. You already know who the Kings are. It's March 10th. You already know who they are. I don't expect them to win the game tonight, and I'm not saying they're going to lose. I'm just saying I don't expect them to win the game tonight. This is a schedule game. With or without Brunson, this is going to be a very difficult game against a well-rested Knicks team, against a Kings team that's playing 3 and 4 with heavy-duty minutes. I'd be very concerned about an injury tonight to Levine, to DeRozan. I would be very concerned about an injury tonight. A muscle, hamstring, groin. I would be very, very careful tonight. This is not going to be an easy game. Then you look at the standings in the West, and you look at Oklahoma City's the number 1 seed. They already upped up. I mean, they're the Lakers are clobbering the Nets right now. They don't have LeBron for probably 2 weeks. They're only a game up in a loss column on Denver. Then you have Memphis, a game up in a loss column over 5th place Houston, followed by the Warriors with 28 losses. Minnesota's won 5 in a row with 29 losses, followed by the Clippers, the Kings, and the Mavericks, and the Suns are a game back in a loss column of Dallas. And I expect Phoenix, even though they got a brutal schedule, to finish ahead of Dallas. But the Kings got to be very careful here. They got to be very careful. Patrick says Levine has given the Knicks fits twice already when he was with Chicago. No question. But here's the deal with Levine. 3-point shooter, jump shooter. I think his legs are shot for the game tonight. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's going to be very challenging. Cody says, thoughts on Myles Garrett requesting a trade, then signing an extension with Cleveland? Very simple, Cody. Money talks. They made him a great deal. Money talks. It's probably posturing, leverage, all of that. It feels like a must-win for the Kings after last night's stomach-punching loss and the upcoming daunting schedule. I don't know if I would call it a must-win, but I still have real reservations about whether the Kings are going to win 41 games this year. I don't think they're going to reach 500. I just don't. I'm looking at the schedule, and I don't see – I mean, other than Washington, all right, even Chicago's playing well right now. Other than the game at Washington, right, I don't see a lot of wins there. I just don't. Going to be very difficult. I keep looking at this schedule, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, where are the wins going to come from here? Like, let's go over the schedule. Let's say, let's just not even talk about tonight's game. At Golden State, next night at Phoenix. If they're healthy and that's a big game, they're going, back to back. Memphis at home. You could get Memphis right now. They got a lot of injuries. Cleveland at home, you're not going to beat them. Chicago at home, you should win. Milwaukee at home, you're probably not going to win. Boston at home, they're going to kick your ass because you already beat them once and you embarrassed them on their home floor. Oklahoma City is going to beat you. Portland matches up and plays you very well. No gimme. At Orlando, they beat the hell out of you. They're not going to be easy. At Indiana, I'm not sure. At Washington, yes, you'll win. At Charlotte, yes, you'll win. At Cleveland, not going to win. At Detroit, not going to win. Denver at home, not going to win. Clippers at home could win. Phoenix at home, you could win. I'm just saying, I don't see a lot of wins there. I don't see a lot of wins. I just don't. So, Alex, you might be right. Maybe tonight is a must-win, taking advantage of a team without Jalen Brunson. But there are games throughout the year that are schedule games. This is a schedule type of a game. It just is. I'm not saying you're not going to win. I'm just saying I don't think you're going to win. There's a big difference in what I'm saying. I'm not expecting the Kings to win the game tonight. And if they do, it will be a hell of a victory. Hell of a victory. Hey, I want to tell you about Sunrise Landing, the newest residential community in Calusa. You go to CalusaSunrise.com. You get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Remember, these models are beautiful. You have 6 to choose from. No Mellorews, no homeowners. And, the access is great. I-5, Highway 20, Highway 45. And it's adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. So go to CalusaSunrise.com and get all the information you need on Sunrise Landing. You'll be glad that you did if you're looking to relocate. Busy night in the association, but all eyes right now on what Sacramento Kings team is going to show up. And good news for, at least Malik Monk, that he's not on the injury report because they're going to need him to score. This Knicks team will play defense. That's the one thing we know they do. They're going to guard you. They are going to guard you. Lakers are up 34-22, early second in Brooklyn. Other games in the West, Orlando and Houston getting ready to start. Phoenix is at Memphis, 2 minutes in. Denver's at Oklahoma City. Dallas plays San Antonio. Portland is at Golden State. That is your schedule in the association tonight. And, of course, we'll be all over the Kings coverage. Rhino with the pregame show, Jerry Reynolds at halftime, and then the postgame show. NFL free agency again. What do you think? Are there any moves that have happened so far? And what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers? Before the day is over, are we going to know about Aaron Rodgers? We've heard a lot of rumors. What's going to happen with him? Right? I've been trying to track the free agency all day, trying to keep up with it. It's interesting that if Cooper Kupp cannot be moved, that the Rams said they're going to release him. They picked up Devontae Adams. I'm not sold on Adams right now. I'm really not. I don't know where his head is. Seems like he's not happy wherever he goes. 49ers had Dre Greenlaw. So I think that's a good move there. But NFL free agency going on strong. All right, let's get to Al. Al, how are you? Oh, we lost Al. You look at the Cowboys sign a running back, Javonte Williams from Denver. Mac Hollins goes to the Patriots, wide receiver. Michael Gallup's visiting the Commanders. All right, Al, are you with me? Hello, Al. What's up? Al, we lost you again. You're having trouble doing that. So I know you've been trying, but it's not there. It's not there. But those, the NFL free agents, that's when teams really improve. That's when teams really improve. These few days here are crucial. And I think the Commanders already, I'm giving them an A+. I love what they have done. They're going to be really good for a long time. They're going to be really good for a long time. They're good. They were good last year. They have a stud quarterback. Man. Allen got paid $330 million. Thoughts on that deal? He actually took less money. So it's a good deal for him, and obviously a good deal for him, and a good deal for the Buffalo Bills. So, good for him, right? So, but he took less money. Yeah, he gave them a break. Gave them a break. He's coming off the best year of his career. They got to get their window is not going to be there forever. They've got to break through and get this done. They've got to get to the Super Bowl, and they've got to win it. What do I think of the Rams signing Adams? I just talked about that. Maybe you were trying to get on. Devontae Adams, to me, is an unhappy guy, and it just seems to me that the minute he becomes unhappy, it's not good. But potentially, yeah, I think it could be really good. But I don't know which Devontae Adams you're going to get. Dak Prescott's still making more than Josh Allen. Yeah, well, Dak Prescott, to me, is the most overrated quarterback in the National Football League, and he's the most overpaid quarterback in the National Football League. I don't understand it. I actually think the Cowboys will win more games with Cooper Rush at quarterback, to be honest with you. I am not a Dak Prescott fan. Giants are in trouble in this division unless something breaks tomorrow. Even if something breaks tomorrow, they're in trouble. They're in trouble, period. They got too many holes to fix. They'll be lucky to win 7 games this year. Yeah, what about the 49ers are in a full rebuild? Man, they were knocking on the door. Be interesting to see what they look like after this week. Be interesting to see that. It really will. Hey, New Works Plumbing. Don't forget them when you have plumbing concerns, you need a repair, you have questions, you want to do something maybe a little bit different to your plumbing system. Maybe you have an idea of something that you'd like to do to upgrade, whatever the case may be. New Works Plumbing is there for you. They do a phenomenal job. You've got the number on your screen, or you just call, or you go to the website. You got sackserviceplumbing.com. I use newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. Whatever the case, just remember they're available around the clock for your plumbing needs. Go to New Works Plumbing, all right? You will not be disappointed. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Hey, don't forget, coming up on the post-game show tonight, a rant with Grant. So don't forget to join us after the game with your phone calls, chat messages, and I will give you a rant coming up on the show tonight. As far as the 49ers go, they are going to be a different looking team. Ufunga got paid. Yes, absolutely. He should get paid. He's a good player. Johnny, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Are they your 49ers, Alex? Do you own part of the team? When you say my 49ers, I'm just curious. They're looking to rebuild. That's the signs I see. They wanted to get younger, as all teams want to do. What's happening, Ben? Checking in from Rockland. Love the show. How likely are the Kings to make the playoffs? 1 through 8, unlikely. Play-in, I'd say right now 90% certain they'll be in the play-in. I would give them right now today less than a 25% chance of being a top 8 team after the play-in. Grant, tough loss last night, especially being up by 7 with less than 2 minutes to go. How do I feel about Levine's shot selection? Frustrating sometimes with the IQ of basketball with how good he is. I do question his shot selection sometime. Absolutely. I also question DeMar DeRozan and his shot selection, up by 2 in that situation. Use more time on the clock, and what are you doing shooting a 3? I also don't understand why LaRavia was on James Harden when you're up by 7 with 2 minutes left instead of Keon Ellis. It was too long to make the switch. That didn't make sense. I thought that was a big mistake. Flores checks in. Geno Smith and Pete back together. You say it won't get them 7 wins? The problem is the division they play in, and they still have a lot of needs. Do I still talk to Doug? I haven't talked to Doug since June 2nd, 2020. Alex, I know I'm just busting your chops. It's all good, buddy. LaRavia is getting overhyped. Kings overhype all of their players. The fans overhype every player. They overhyped Doug McDermott. I told people to calm down. They overhyped LaRavia. I said, you know what? He's a role player. Calm down. They overhyped Markelle Fultz. I said, Markelle Fultz can't play. Stop it already. You know, they're making Markelle Fultz out to be like this new savior, and he's going to be able to come in and run the team and do this and do that. I'm like, no. The minute I heard about Markelle Fultz, I'm like, really? Why? Kings fans, this is what makes them special, and also what infuriates me. They love their players so much that they very often have blinders on about what they're getting. It's just I've lived with this for decades. They overhype their players. They always have. Just the way it is. You know what, Ben? Stop it, would you please? Not overhyped because he's a white guy. Stop it. He's overhyped because he came from a good team and he's now on the Kings. All right? Just like Markelle Fultz is overhyped. What ethnicity is he? God. Don't understand it. Drives me crazy. It really does. Again, a reminder, pregame show with Rhino, Jerry, halftime show. Your calls, postgame show right here on If You Don't Like That. Really enjoyed doing a special cameo today for a huge Kings fan who will be celebrating their birthday tomorrow. I don't know if he's seen the cameo, so I don't want to say his name because I don't want to ruin the surprise. If you want me to do a cameo with all of my Kings signature lines, hit me up. I'll tailor make it for you. That's right. Be tailor-made video just for you. Birthday, friend, joke, whatever the case may be, I'm happy to do a cameo for you. Thank you for the super chat. Is there any way to get you back announcing games? Well, there's no job that's open, so no, I don't think so. Was Costa Koufis overhyped? No, he was actually underhyped. Underhyped. I like the Flores grant. What material is that? I don't know. We got to steal this W tonight. You got to win somehow. Very true. Very true. Do I think it will be the Suns' first playing game and probably Clips after? There's no way in the world that I can forecast who the Kings are going to play or who they're going to play after that. It's March. It's March 10th. All right? Come on now. Please. It's March 10th. Can we wait at least a couple more weeks? First of all, you got to make it. All right? You got to make it. Hey, I want to tell you about Element Mortgage and what Connor can do for you at 916-505-1006. Buying a home, you know what? Can be very stressful. Selling a home, refinancing, trust, very important to me. Experience, very important to me, as I'm sure it is you. Connor, local guy from Folsom with a boatload of experience, and the team that he has behind him, over 100 years of experience. And Connor with 1,000 loans closed over the past 7 years. This is an independent mortgage bank They can do anything under the sun with lending programs. We're talking about a one-stop shop. Give Connor a call, 916 505 1006, and let him go to work for you with Element Mortgage. Really enjoyed talking with him and picking his brain about certain things. And again, you'll love talking about the Kings with him. He is a big time Sacramento Kings fan. Love the messages. Keep them coming right here on If You Don't Like That. And again, lots of coverage coming your way. If you've not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. You'll know when all the programs are coming your way. And if you would mind, please give me a thumbs up. It would be greatly appreciated. All right, so pregame show coming up a little bit with Rhino. It's a league of superstars. Are Kings fans being too optimistic? Too optimistic in terms of what? I don't understand your question. It's not a league of superstars. There's only a handful of superstars in the league. But yeah, it is a league of stars. But I don't know if I would say superstars. I can forecast, Grant, it will be the Suns first and the Clippers second. Well, good for you. Can you forecast the winning lottery numbers for this week? Can you do that too? Can you forecast how long the average motorist has to wait on these stupid ass ramps with stoplights instead of merging onto the freeway like a normal person? Can you forecast that? Can you forecast how much gas is wasted waiting on a long line on a ramp to merge onto a freaking highway? Can you forecast how much fuel is wasted? Just curious. Do you have the numbers there on that? Just so you know, if you believe the refs were paid off, then you're an idiot for watching the games. Yankees are cooked. Cole is out for the year. Yep, they're done. They were done before the season started anyway because half the team is hurt already. Do I have any Wayman Tisdale stories? How much time do you have? Love Wayman, one of my favorite, not players, one of my favorite people of all time. Thing I probably remember the most about Tizzy was his family, how beautiful they were, what great people they were, how when Wayman was with the Kings, Regina and Wayman, knowing that I was single, invited me over to their house for the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, open door, come on over, we want you to be with us. Like, that is so rare, so genuine. Last time I saw Wayman, I've shared this story. He was playing at the Radisson Hotel on Wood Lake, Dave Koz and friends. And Tizzy's on the bass guitar, get that big smile. He'd already had his leg amputated. And we all thought he was cancer-free. And I was about 5 rows from the stage, outdoors. And Tizzy's there, and I stand up as he's playing his bass guitar. And he was in the middle of actually doing the lyrics of a song. And he saw me and lets out the biggest smile and goes, "Grant Napier," in the middle of his lyrics. And then I went and saw him in the green room during the intermission and spent 10 minutes with him. It's the last time I saw him. I'll cherish those 10 minutes for the rest of my life. Just the best. Love the man. Talk about a guy that we lost way too soon, who was so good for the world. That's Wayman Tisdale. What about Dwayne Coswell? I love Causey. We were from the same area. He's from New York. I'm from New York. Big Giants fan, big Yankees fan. I love Causey. Different, though, but I love Causey. Really love the guy. You know, it's funny. I have so many guys that when I see, even all these years after, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a fraternity almost. My top 3 favorite Kings players that I know personally. Now you're putting me on the spot. Scott Pollard, Vlade Divac, and I don't know if I could do the third. I don't know if I would choose Spud Webb. I don't know if I would do Peja. Reggie Theus would be right there. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could come up with a third. Vlade and Scott are 1 and 2 or 2 and 1, depending on 1A or 1B. Spud would be right there. Wayman would be right there. Reggie's got to be right there. I mean, Spud is a dear friend of mine. I love Spud. One of my favorite podcasts that I did was with Spud. You should go back and check it out. It was truly one of my favorite podcasts that I've done when I interviewed Spud. Probably, I'm trying to think, 2 or 3 years ago. Loved it. Loved it. All right, let's get to Dirk. Dirk, how are you tonight or today?
I'm doing okay, Grant. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you for calling.
Cool. I want to ask you a question to have you speculate about something. You down with that?
Well, it depends what the question is. I don't normally speculate, but I'm happy to hear the question.
Okay, so the Sam Amick report, some other Kings reporters talking a little bit about what they know. They can't expressly state it. Said
Right.
as soon as we hit the off season, there's going to be a lot of things happening. Some things you will like, and some things you will not like. What could they possibly be talking about in regards to not like, in your mind?
Well, I agree that there will be things that happen at the end of the season. And the first really big decision, and I would assume that you would agree, is whether you're going to retain Monty McNair or not. And I think if the Kings are not a top 8 team after the play-in, he will be gone. And then I think that means Doug will be gone, even though Vivek loves Doug. They'll put him in a different position, and they'll hire a new general manager and a new coach. Let's start there. Agree or disagree?
It's a great question. I could see us doing the Mike Malone mistake all over again with Doug Christie.
You can't compare Doug Christie to Michael Malone. Come on.
What I'm saying is where they hired the coach, we want him as the coach, and they're going to bring in a GM potentially. Again,
you mean bringing a GM after they already give Doug a new deal? Is that what you mean?
That's just one of the things I wanted to speculate about. Do you think Vivek is capable of making that same mistake again?
He's capable of making any mistake at any time. Yes, I think he's capable of that. Absolutely. And I think it would be very difficult to hire a general manager with a coach already in place unless that person is a Pete D'Alessandro who will never become a general manager of an NBA team again and is jumping on the opportunity to live out a lifelong dream.
Got it. The other theories I had going was, could you imagine Vivek stepping down and having his daughter take over for whatever capacity he makes?
100%, but not this year. It's not Vivek, it's Vivek. So I think we
Vivek,
need
thank
to.
you.
No problem. I don't think Vivek is close to stepping down because he is a jock sniffer and he gets off on being around famous people. And the minute he steps away from that environment, his status of being around famous people goes down exponentially. And I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay. And then the third thing, which is my biggest fear, is he appoints his daughter as GM.
I would say there's no chance of that happening.
Thank you. I feel better already, Grant.
because if he were to do that, I believe, Dirk, that you would have a full fan boycott and that the media scrutiny from a local and particularly a national level would be too much for any individual to withstand. So I don't think that's a scenario that could happen. If that were to happen, it would truly be the beginning of the end of the Sacramento Kings.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for taking my call, Grant.
All right. You take care. Enjoy the game tonight.
You too.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't see how that could happen. Now, in the future, 10, 15 years from now, if Vivek does indeed step down, then I could see it. Todd, thank you very much. Really appreciate the super chat donation. Vivek is the reason why the Kings are dysfunctional for years. I would agree. He needs Joe Dumars to help him. No, he doesn't need Joe Dumars to help him. Joe already has helped him. He already did that. How did that work out? Grant, I don't like our chances. What do you think? Do you think New York can win this game? I think they will win the game, actually. I think that it's a schedule game. I think 3 games in 4 nights with all the minutes that the Kings players have played is going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. They can do it, but I think the Knicks, well rested. The Knicks have lost 3 in a row. They got to win this game. They're going to try to right the ship. Here's the one that I keep on saying. It would be amazing one day to have Kings ownership be from Sacramento. 100% correct. 100% correct. All right. Pre-game show, Rhino. Halftime show, Jerry. Post-game show. Love it. Kings, Knicks, coming your way in a little bit. Thank you, everyone. I'll be back with you real soon at halftime. Until then, thank you. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.